Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 4Strategy Gaming. Going to be casting a game for you today between NightEnd and Dimaga. Now Dimaga of course being the red Zerg player and the blue Protoss player of course being NightEnd. And now we are on Shakuras Plateau, so it should be a pretty exciting matchup. Looking forward to it most certainly. It's a longer game as well. I believe the game time is about 24 or so minutes, so going to be pretty exciting here. Looking forward to that. Also, quick little note, I've had people complain about, the replay time being up, something like this, or having this replay time, yeah, this one right here that I'm showing to you guys, having that up. Not sure why people complain. You know, when you watch the video, you know how long the video length is, right? I mean, are you not... I don't see what the difference is between the YouTube video length and the replay timer video length. I'm really baffled as to why anyone would ever complain about that. I just think people like to bitch, to be honest with you. But anyways, we have a nice little pylon coming down over here for NightEnd right at the front of his natural expansion. Of course, the implication here is that he's going to put some buildings up front, going to be going for a nice quick expansion. Fast expanding against Zerg can be very dangerous, but it can also be very profitable if he manages to pull it off. So probably going to be seeing a Forge, and there we go, Forge of course coming down for NightEnd. Now over inside of Dimaga's base, looks like he's going to be going for one base play, so kind of opposites of what you would normally expect. Typically you would expect a Protoss player to start out with one base play and the Zerg player to fast expand, but no, we are in fact seeing the opposite. Now what is likely to happen is Dimaga is likely just going for this fast pool and then going to be expanding somewhere in the vicinity of 20 supply. That is what you typically see in a normal game nowadays. A lot of Zerg players choosing not to go fast expand first because they're starting to feel just a little bit too vulnerable against early pushes from any race, really, from Zerg, Protoss, or Terran players. Early pushes can be really dangerous going for a 15 hatch. It's obviously doable, and lots of players do manage to pull it off, but just in a general sense, we are seeing a lot more Zerg players start off with that spawning pool first and then move into the expansion after that. Now, a little bit of dancing going down here, a little bit of a disco probe from NightEnd over here, trying to help deny that expansion as long as possible, just trying to get in the way and be as much of a nuisance as possible. Over inside of NightEnd's base, here we go, coming down with that one cannon. Also, there is that gateway. And we should be seeing that expansion sometime in the near future. Maybe not quite as of yet, though. You can see, though, his resources are quite a bit low, coming out with that assimilator before expanding. So actually choosing not to go for the expansion. Now, you're going to ask yourself why. Why has he not expanded yet? What is the reason? What is the purpose? Well, being right outside of his opponent's base, he did see that Dimaga has yet to expand. Now, Dimaga is finally coming out with this expansion right now, but up until this point, he hasn't expanded. So with that being said, NightEnd realizes, well, geez, you know, there's going to be somewhat of an early push, so I'm going to do what I can to get prepared, trying to get up this gas here so he can get some Vespene, and that way once his Cybernex core, which is about to drop right now, finishes, he's going to be able to afford sentries and stalkers. So that's kind of the idea here, deciding instead of going immediately for that fast expansion, he does want the option to tech as soon as the Cybernex core finishes. So first coming out with this assimilator, getting some gas, then the expansion and the Cybernex core. Now blocking this entrance here, this one little accessible area with the probe, and then using the damage from the cannon to fend off those Zerglings. So good job there by NightEnd. Now inside of Dimaga's base, we are seeing this expansion just about finished. Also going to be coming out with a whole crap load of Zerglings. So going to be seeing a strong early push here from Dimaga. Dimaga going to do what he can to try to be a little bit aggressive. May try to open up the back door here. It's going to take quite some time, though, for Zerglings to break through these rocks and those rocks. So might not be his option. I'm not sure what he's planning on doing. It's going to be hard for him to push in, especially with this cannon. Typically, without a cannon here, if you had this kind of larger wall off and the Zealots were off in this choke right here, then you could try to poke off the buildings at either direction, but with the cannon here, it makes that impossible. So yes, he is in fact going to be going for these destructible rocks. Realize though, this is going to take an agonizingly long amount of time. The surface area that's actually attackable is very small, and just in general, Zerglings don't do really well against destructible rocks. You can see here, destructible rocks are considered an armored unit, so it takes him quite some time. So it's going to be a while, but eventually he is resilient, and eventually he will make it to these destructible rocks, and eventually he will make it through those destructible rocks. Depending on how much NightEnd is paying attention to Dimaga's attack, he may see these destructible rocks going down. You can see obviously he does have vision of that if he's paying enough attention. Now, Here we go. We are seeing, again, the purpose behind him going for that fast assimilator before the expansion was so that he could afford some early techie units. So coming out with these sentries is going to help him out quite a bit. Going to drop some force fields against the possibility of a Baneling Bust or an early Roach push or anything like that. Now back here inside of Dimaga's base, we are in fact seeing those Roaches. So there we go. Roach Warren is up right now, teching up to this layer as well. Second extractor and going to be saturating that very shortly. Let's take a look at how those Zerglings are doing on those back rocks. Zerglings making their way through this first set of rocks, then going to be moving on to the second, and again, it's really going to depend on how much NightEnd is paying attention, because if he does see these rocks going down, then he's probably going to drop a couple cannons down, and that should help defend against it quite well. 2 sentries chilling out right here. Also have this Warp Gate research just about finished. And yeah, just going to be macroing up at this point. Again, we're going to really have to wait and see and how much attention he is paying to that back push. Now, over here for Dimaga, that layer just about finished. At his expansion, not a whole lot going on as well. Going to be trying to work on his economy. Also coming out with a bunch of Overlords. Now, why is he coming out with so many Overlords right now? Well, most likely because he plans on, in the very near future, pumping out a crap ton of Roaches. That is probably what we're going to be seeing. Layer is up. Are we going to see that speed upgrade for those Roaches? I would imagine so. There we go. Speed upgrade coming in. Crap ton of Roaches en route and coming out with that Burrow research. So there we go. I am somewhat of a mind reader there. Didn't watch this game prior, but that's just what you can expect. You know, really, you get to this point in this game where you can see what's going on and have a pretty good indication of what the future holds. So yeah, I guess that does make you kind of a mind reader. So 1 cannon going down. We can see here, obviously, NightEnd was aware of that push, bringing down those Stalkers, was able to defend against that. The threat is that once these Roaches come out, he can ranged take this out and bust into the base of NightEnd unless NightEnd completes a wall off here. Otherwise, those Zerglings are going to be able to run rampant right inside of his base. Now, we are seeing that level 1 upgrade coming out for NightEnd right now as well. Also seeing a supply block for NightEnd. That's a little unfortunate. He's going to be taking care of that very shortly, though. It does have those pylons coming out. Bunch of warp gates out right now. How much do we have here? There's 4 right there in the main and a 5th one right there. So 5 warp gates. Surprised, honestly, that we don't have a 6th anywhere. Usually going for this fast expansion, you can go for a 6th one, but he's not able to afford that because he is going for that blink research and going for this forge with that level 1 upgrade. That's why we aren't seeing the 6 warp gates and we are just seeing the 1. Now here come the Roaches, actually going to be taking care of these rocks before they decide to move back here. I would imagine that he's going to move back here. I mean, he did do all this work to get there, but instead going to be deciding to take out these rocks right here. And then likely going to be taking out the rocks right here as well. So trying to make quick access into his opponent's base, trying to have a lot of open avenues as far as movement is concerned. Dimaga doing a good job of spreading the creep, trying to get as much vision of the map as possible. And then, yeah, at this point, he's just macroing up. He's pumping out a bunch of Roaches right now as well. We can see 8 more Roaches en route. Speed upgrade is finished as well as Burrow, so that's very, very significant there. I wonder if he's going to get the tunneling claws as well, allowing his Roaches to move while underground. That would be great. That would be fancy. That would be just fantastic. Still not doing anything to these back rocks. Here we go. Finally, Roaches moving in that direction. So going to be moving to attack those back rocks. Lots and lots of Roaches right now for Dimaga. This could be really, really strong. The problem is, of course, that we are seeing a very Blink Stalker heavy army from NightEnd. And NightEnd's going to be pushing out, starting to feel a little courageous. He does have that level 1 upgrade right now. And that Blink research is finished as well. And at this point, he is just going to continue to pump out units and going to push forward and try to see as much damage as he can do. Using 3 Roaches to take down these rocks, bringing the rest of the Roaches back to his main base. He does know this push is coming. He needs to be prepared for it as much as possible. Roaches chilling out over here, trying to provide a little bit of a flank. Now, NightEnd did see that when grabbing that Xel'Naga tower. He was fully aware. He's also going to be aware of the fact that these rocks are destroyed, taking out that Roach right there, hanging out at the Xel'Naga. So Dimaga no longer having vision of this push coming, but now, as soon as he moves on to the creep, he's going to be aware. Roaches up top, Roaches down below. Going to see a nice little flank here. Blink going down, though. With this Roach speed on that creep, he is able to catch up to those and take a few out before they get out of range. Going to see another Blink go down to try to get out of range of those Roaches as much as possible, bringing down that lowered Stalker, and then going to be pushing forward inside of his base. Probably going to see some force fields, but no, Dimaga deciding to pull back, and here we go. I think at this point he's going to be rallying to the back, and the rocks are gone. Those 3 Roaches did manage to take it out. 1 Zerglin scouting forward over there, bringing back the rest of his units into this expansion over here, and just going to continue to spread that creep. Also getting these upgrades here. We can see that evolution chamber going down right now. There's that Hydro Sten. Where's that evolution chamber? Or what's that? There it is. The evolution chamber right there, and hopefully we'll see a second one as well, so you can get the damage as well as the armor upgrades simultaneously. But seeing that Hydro Den, he's going to be switching into Roach and Hydro instead of Roach exclusively. Now, something I want to say as a Zerg player, you know, you've got two really popular builds. We've got that Speedling Muta build, or the Speedling Baneling Muta build, and then there's Roach Hydra. Roach Hydra is a strong, solid build as well. It's not as mobile, but it's also a lot more durable. Now, the one big threat and the one big thing that you have to worry about in going Roach Hydra is a Robotics Bay allowing for a Colossus. That is the threat. That is the thing to worry about, and we do have this Robotics Bay coming out right now for NightEnd. So NightEnd, being aware of his opponent's army composition here, moving forward though, engaging these Roaches, was able to take out a few of those Zerglings that were there as well. That blink allowing him to catch up very quickly with no problem whatsoever. Going to be moving a few Stalkers forward. No, deciding in fact to just expand here. So dropping down the pylon, and I would hope, actually I don't know, I think that pylon may have blocked the possible expansion, but no, maybe not. There we go. Expansion is able to go down, so pylon not blocking the expansion. That would be really silly of him if he did do that. He probably would have to forward. But no, Roach is moving into the front of NightEnd's base right now. Going to be taking out the pylon at the very front, powering down and killing all those cannons now, doing quite a bit of damage. If he can manage to take out this expansion, he's going to be in a really strong spot. Lots of Stalkers moving down right now, though, for NightEnd, and doing lots and lots of damage. Forced to pull back and engage. He realizes if he tries to run away, he's just going to lose them anyway, so he might as well try to do as much damage as possible. Going to be moving a few Roaches into this back expansion of NightEnd, trying to take that out if at all possible. And moving forward, trying to do as much damage as possible, but no, Stalkers are managing to pull him back, push him back, and keep him away from the base. Not before he did do a bit of damage, not quite as much as he'd like to. He didn't actually hurt the economy at all of NightEnd, but again, he does have some Roaches over here. Going to be doing a little bit of work to this expansion, but no, Blink Stalkers moving forward. Going to be forcing this away. Observer nullifying the opportunity for him to burrow with those Roaches. So again, pushed back from that Blink Stalker push. Now moving, finally getting some Hydras into the mix here. Now what we're going to want to see here from Dimaga is a tech up to Aspire to get some Corruptors. That's going to be what he needs to deal with Colossus on the board. We can see that Thermal Lance upgrade coming in right now, as well as Colossus. One Colossus is on the way out right now. And where is that Robotics? It's right here. So Colossus just about finished right now. Burrow going down right over there for Dimaga. And also going to be rallying some of his troops right here. Going to try to take out this expansion. Lots of Blink Stalkers right here. Going to do what he can to engage in a proper spot. Doesn't want to get caught too close to those Roaches. Doesn't want to lose them. Canceling all of those cannons that he had building right there. Roach is feeling a little bold, pulling forward away from the bulk of the group. Also buying him time to take out the expansion, as well as some burrowed Roaches over here. Roaches coming up. Going to be doing some damage to this expansion right here. But no, Blink Stalkers moving forward, taking them out. And a nice little burrow going down. Here comes that Observer, though. Going to take care of those. Now tons and tons of Roaches and Hydras right here, but these force fields keeping them at bay for the time being. Going to want to pull his forces back very shortly, though, because they are about to bust through, almost losing that sentry. He just barely has enough for one more force field, but no, forces being pulled back right now from Dimaga. Dimaga not feeling comfortable to continue this engagement. So, I mean, great job so far by Dimaga. Constant harassment of NightEnd. You know, he's been doing a really good job of trying to deny these expansions. The fact that Dimaga does have up this one extra expansion against his opponent definitely puts him in a good spot. Continuing to spread the creep, trying to get as much vision as possible. All it's really going to take, though, is one big power push from NightEnd with an Observer to deny all of that creep and all of that hard work and spreading the creep. God, spreading creep can be really annoying. Moving up some Roaches up to this higher area up here right above NightEnd's main expansion, natural expansion, trying to look for an expansion over here as well. Seeing that there is none, I'm surprised he actually didn't move at least one Roach up there to check up there, because that is a possibility. Big push coming over here from NightEnd. Lots of Stalkers, couple Colossus. Now again, in seeing the Colossus, now Dimaga is aware, I need Aspire, I need some Corruptors, or else Colossus are going to destroy my army. As strong as Roach Hydra is, once Colossus are on the board, it can really put you in a very tough spot. You need Corruptors to be able to respond to that. That is going to be your proper response. Otherwise, they're just going to sit at range. They're going to take advantage of that Thermal Lance and just absolutely roast your units. Staging up in two different areas. Dimaga has a push available at the front, as well as all these units in the back. He does want to be careful. He doesn't want to get caught out of position against his Colossus. He could be in a tough spot. Moving forward to engage. Going to do as much damage as possible. Stalkers engaging. Colossus doing a great job of shredding up all of these Hydras and Roaches, but they're so robust, these Roaches are. They're able to push forward, resilient, and do as much damage as possible. But unfortunately, again, the power of these Colossus is just too much for them to handle. And right now, we did see almost an entire loss of force from Dimaga. So Dimaga in a very tough spot right now. We can see a bunch more Roaches coming out, as well as Corruptors, to try to deal with those Colossus. Now, although NightEnd did win that battle, he did lose a substantial amount, but he's got a quite a big force sitting right here and going to be moving into Dimaga's expansion. Dimaga does want those Corruptors to come out as soon as possible so they can deal with these Colossus. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough time, though. Not sure he's going to be able to defend this expansion. Pushing forward with those Roaches, he does want to pull them back for as long as possible. He wants his Corruptors. Here we go. go. Corruptor's finally coming out. Now he's going to want to target fire these Colossus, take them down as quickly as possible, and then just use the roaches to try to mop up the Stalkers. Now, feeling a little tentative right now. He wants to pull back, maybe waiting for some reinforcements. There we go. We do have a few Stalkers reinforcing. Actually, the very fact that NightEnd ended up waiting could be the savior there for Dimaga. The fact that he waited this long allowed Dimaga to come out with all those Corruptors and bring them down to help defend his expansion, and there we go. So NightEnd not taking advantage of the fact that the Corruptors weren't on the board as of yet. He could have pushed, he could have done quite a bit of damage, but no. Corruptors moving forward, going to be trying to target fire. Blink Stalkers trying to take them down as quickly as possible. You can see just how much damage, how much abuse these Corruptors can take. They have such a large hit pool, and the fact that they're armored as well makes them very difficult air targets for Stalkers to take out. They obviously can target fire them and take them out without any response from the Corruptors, but the fact of the matter is they're just not easy targets. They're not fast pickoffs there. We can see here this little observer from NightEnd fully aware of the army right here, the exact composition and what he's up against. Nice little spread coming as well from Dimaga. This is, of course, allowing him to try to get as big of a concave as possible when a fight finally does occur. Now, what he doesn't want to do is actually push right here. If he tries to move into this ramp, the Colossus will just shred his units as they piled up in one big bunch and not doing a lot of damage because most of the units would be back behind that. So you can see here, again, nice little spread from Dimaga, and that's exactly what he wants to do. Now, I don't think that NightEnd's going to be planning to push, but no, Blink Stalker's going down, trying to take out Corruptors that were hanging out back here, ready for an ambush of the Colossus, but no, fully aware of that, NightEnd does blink down there and snipe off quite a few of them. So here we go, we are seeing a few more Corruptors being built, as well as some upgrades. Now, at this point, Dimaga's taking full advantage of this standoff between his army and NightEnd's, and we can see this one expansion and two expansions going down. So this is going to be a problem for NightEnd. NightEnd is going to want to get up at least one more expansion. Probably going to have to move over here, or possibly right here might be a little bit easier for him to defend with Blink Stalkers and Colossus. He can move, but finally pushing forward, and here comes the engagement. I am not sure that this is the position NightEnd wants to be in. Nice, really big concave from Dimaga. He's going to try to pick off units in this direction, trying to cut back on the amount of space that his units can be targeted. Corruptors moving forward. There are so many Blink Stalkers, though. I am not sure that Dimaga can handle this. Corruptors moving forward, trying to target fire these Colossus, doing as much damage as possible, but the massive amount of Blink Stalkers plus those Colossus, the Colossus just did not drop fast enough for Dimaga. Dimaga was not able to take him down fast enough, and that massive army was way too much for Dimaga to handle. Now, Dimaga does have these spine crawlers, not going to do much, though, against his Colossus. You can, again, see that massive range advantage from the Colossus. It's just too much. He can't even respond whatsoever, pulling back the Stalkers to make sure they don't take any damage. So even with this big economic advantage, even with all of these expansions, he can't do anything about this right now. There's just this massive death ball from NightEnd, and I am not sure at this point that Dimaga has the resources available to respond to this. You can see just how low his resource pool is. He's got 11 Corruptors coming in right now, and that is great, but that does absolutely jack squat against all of these Stalkers, and finally pushing forward and getting that additional expansion right now. So taking forward of that victory, taking advantage of that victory, NightEnd's going to be moving into an additional expansion. And this is just very problematic. Mass Blink Stalker from NightEnd plus Colossus. Again, the Stalkers were able to take down these Corruptors, and not being able to deal with these Colossus, it seems like it's going to be the death here of Dimaga. Blink Stalkers again going down, targeting those Corruptors, and Dimaga calls good game. So nice game between these two players. A really interesting matchup. We can see here that heavy Blink Stalker plus Colossus was just too much for that Roach Hydra army to deal with. Even getting those Corruptors on the board to try to deal with this, the Blink Stalkers were just able to take them out too quickly. The Colossus just did massive damage to the Roaches and Hydras. So good game between these two players. Definitely an interesting matchup. If you guys enjoy the content and if you enjoy my casting, please do go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. As always, guys, keep watching and keep owning.